हेलो हेलो हेलो। आज मैं आपके लिए एक नया लेक्चर लेके आया हूं, बट उस लेक्चर को स्टार्ट करने से पहले मैं आपको ये बताऊंगा कि पिछले लेक्चर में मैंने कंप्लीट किया था एक इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक साल्ट्स का, दैट वाज रिगार्डिंग द सॉल्युबिलिटी ऑफ साल्ट्स. For the solubility of the salts, I gave 5 rules for their solubility. Rule number 1 was, what was rule number 1? Rule number 1 was all chlorides are soluble in nature. दैट मीन्स जो भी साल्ट्स क्लोराइड के होंगे वो सॉल्युबल है. इट एंड देयर वर सम एक्सेप्शंस. द एक्सेप्शन वाज लेड क्लोराइड. द एक्सेप्शन वाज देयर लेड क्लोराइड. रूल नंबर सेकंड, व्हाट वाज द रूल नंबर सेकंड? द रूल नंबर सेकंड वाज ऑल साल्ट्स ऑफ पोटेशियम, सोडियम एंड अमोनियम are soluble in nature. What was the rule number third? Rule number third was all sulfate salts are soluble in nature. मतलब जो भी सल्फेट साल्ट्स होंगे वो सभी के सभी सॉल्युबल होंगे. और फोर्थ रूल मैंने क्या बताया था कि all नाइट्रेट साल्ट्स आर सॉल्युबल इन नेचर. मतलब जो भी नाइट्रेट साल्ट्स होंगे वो सभी के सभी साल्ट सॉल्युबल होते हैं. एंड फाइनली I told that the fifth rule, what was there? Fifth rule was all carbonate salts, all sulfide salts, all sulfate salts, all bicarbonate salts are insoluble in water. When I talked about the rule number third, that means regarding the sulfate salts, I talked that all sulfate salts are soluble, but I gave some exceptions there. Exceptions were barium sulfate there. Okay, lead sulfate was also their exception. But in case of the nitrate salts, which are all soluble in nature, and there was no exception at all. Okay, till the solubility of the salts, we have completed this lecture. Now today, what we are going to talk about, so you note down in the previous classes, I told that I will continue this lecture. Today, I will be going to start प्रिपरेशन ऑफ साल्ट्स. मतलब साल्ट को हम प्रिपेयर कैसे कर सकते हैं. यू नो, some salts are soluble in nature, some salts are insoluble in nature. So firstly I will be going to prepare the soluble salts. मतलब वो salts जो soluble होते हैं उनको बोलेंगे सॉल्युबल साल्ट्स. इनकी प्रिपरेशन हम स्टार्ट करेंगे. प्रिपरेशन मेथड नंबर 1 हो, पहली प्रिपरेशन हम स्टार्ट करेंगे. यू नोट डाउन, इट इज डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन और सिंथेसिस. इट इज डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन और सिंथेसिस. डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन सिंथेसिस मतलब ये हुआ कि यहां पे हमारे पास दो एलिमेंट्स होंगे. उन दो एलिमेंट्स को हम डायरेक्टली रिएक्ट करेंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई विल टेक एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ आयरन. आयरन इज वन एलिमेंट. आयरन एक एलिमेंट है, क्लोरीन दूसरा एलिमेंट है. अगर मैं इनको डायरेक्टली मिक्स करूंगा, सो द रिजल्ट, व्हाट विल बी द रिजल्टेंट प्रोडक्ट? रिजल्टेंट प्रोडक्ट विल बी FeCl3. Oh, what will be the final product? The final product will be FeCl3. Similarly, if I will react Zn with Cl2, the product formed will be ZnCl2. मतलब ये हुआ कि मैंने आयरन को डायरेक्टली कंबाइन किया. डायरेक्ट कंबाइन हो, दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड अ डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन. I directly combined iron with chlorine, so it formed iron chloride. Zinc I reacted with chlorine, it formed zinc chloride. This was method number 1. Now the method number 2, you note down. It is simple displacement. Simple displacement. It is simple displacement. मतलब इसमें हम सिंपली खाली डिस्प्लेस करेंगे कुछ एलिमेंट्स को एक कंपाउंड में. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर मैं यहां पे लूंगा आयरन, if I will take iron, if I will mix it with sulfuric acid, What will be the product? The product formed will be iron sulfate, FeSO4. What will be released also? Hydrogen gas. That means मतलब ये हुआ कि मैंने आयरन को मिक्स किया इस सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड के साथ. इट इज डाइल्यूट सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड. मैंने आयरन को मिक्स किया सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड के डाइल्यूट सॉल्यूशन के साथ. वहां पे एक प्रोडक्ट क्या बना? आयरन सल्फेट वाज द प्रोडक्ट. आयरन सल्फेट कैसे बना? इस आयरन ने हाइड्रोजन को डिस्प्लेस किया. हाइड्रोजन को डिस्प्लेस किया इस सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड से. You must be knowing, you should remember that in chemistry there is reactivity series. There is a series which we are calling as reactivity series. इस reactivity series में होता क्या है? इसमें बहुत सारे एलिमेंट्स की reactivity का ऑर्डर होता है. मतलब जो एलिमेंट ऊपर होंगे वो ज्यादा रिएक्टिव होंगे, जो एलिमेंट्स नीचे आएंगे उस सीरीज में वो लेस रिएक्टिव होते हैं. अगर हम इस आयरन की बात करेंगे, फॉर एग्जांपल ये आयरन यहां पे आता है. अगर हम इस हाइड्रोजन की बात करेंगे, हाइड्रोजन फॉर एग्जांपल यहां पे आता है. आयरन इस हाइड्रोजन से ऊपर है. मतलब ये हुआ कि जो ये आयरन है ये हाईली, ये मोर रिएक्टिव है व्हेन कंपेयरिंग विद हाइड्रोजन. जब ये आयरन ज्यादा रिएक्टिव है इस हाइड्रोजन से, सो दिस आयरन विल डिस्प्लेस, इट विल डिस्प्लेस हाइड्रोजन फ्रॉम दिस सल्फेट. It will, this iron will combine now with sulfate and it will form now iron sulfate. Similarly, अगर मैं जिंक को लूंगा, इसको मिक्स करूंगा H2SO4 के साथ, what will be the product? The product will be zinc sulfate plus hydrogen gas will also be released. The reason for this is again the same. Zinc is placed, zinc will be somewhere above this hydrogen, means this zinc is highly reactive as compared to copper, so it will displace this hydrogen from this sulfate and will form the product as zinc sulfate. Similarly, if I will react this iron with HCl, it will form FeCl2. If I will react this zinc with HCl, it will form ZnCl2. Okay, why it will form ZnCl2? Because iron will displace this hydrogen from this chlorine, as iron is present at higher position as compared to hydrogen in the reactivity series, so it will find it easy to displace this hydrogen from this chlorine. Okay, now if I will give you here an example, for example, if I will take another example, if I will react a copper with sulfuric acid, what will be the product? Oh, the product would have been copper sulfate, CuSO4. What else will be released? Hydrogen would have been released. But listen, ये reaction तो होगी ही नहीं. This reaction won't happen. Why it won't happen? When we are seeing the reactivity of copper and hydrogen, this copper, if you will find it in the reactivity series, this copper is present below this hydrogen, means copper is present below this hydrogen, so copper is less reactive as compared to hydrogen. जब ये हाइड्रोजन के नीचे प्रेजेंट है इस रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज में, so it is less reactive as compared to hydrogen, so this copper won't be able to displace this hydrogen from this sulfate, so it won't be able to form this copper sulfate and release this hydrogen gas. Okay, so this reaction won't happen. So till now I completed the two types of formation of the soluble salts. The first one, it was the direct combination. Second one, it was simple displacement, जहां पे मैंने खाली डिस्प्लेस किया एक लेस रिएक्टिव एलिमेंट को. वो किसने डिस्प्लेस किया? वो डिस्प्लेस किया हाईली और मोर रिएक्टिव एलिमेंट ने. I gave the example also when copper is mixed with sulfuric acid, the product would have been copper sulfate, but this reaction is not occurring. Why it is not occurring? Because copper is present at less, because copper is less reactive as compared to hydrogen when we are going through the reactivity series. Okay. Now the third method, you note down the third method. Method number third is decomposition. So third method will be decomposition. For example, if I will react this NaCl, if I will react this NaCl with H2SO4 at a temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, what will be the product formed? The product formed will be NaHSO4. What else will be released? HCl will be released. Similarly, if I will react KNO3, if I will again react it with H2SO4, what will be product formed? The product will be KHSO4. And what else will be released? HNO3 will be released here. It is sodium hydrogen sulfate. It is potassium hydrogen sulfate. These are the salts which are formed when NaCl is mixed with sulfuric acid at a temperature of less than 200 degrees Celsius. There is formation of this salt by decomposition. That means we are decomposing this sulfuric acid. We are removing this chlorine and one hydrogen, and we are decomposing these constituents here, and the products are formed which are salts here. They are formed by this decomposition reaction. Now the another reaction which I will be going to talk about here, I have mentioned this reaction many times, but I will remind you again here. The reaction number 4, you note down reaction number 4, it is neutralization. Oh, it is neutralization. It is neutralization. Do you know what is neutralization? Neutralization is the reaction of acid. It is the reaction of acid with a base. When acid is reacted with base, what is the product formed? The product formed is salt. And what is released? There is release of this water molecule. I have mentioned this thing many times. But there is one important point. This was acid. Acid is reacted with sodium hydroxide. What is sodium hydroxide? It is a base. What are bases? Bases are hydroxides, metal hydroxides or metal oxides. So the product formed is NaCl, sodium chloride. It is a salt. But one thing I have to note down here. You have to note down. When this base is alkali. Do you know what is alkali? If base will be alkali, what are alkali? Alkali are those bases which are soluble in water. मतलब ये हुआ कि alkalis वो bases होते हैं जो water में soluble होंगे. So if this base is an alkali, at that time this reaction is called titration. Oh, what is this called? It is called titration. मतलब ये हुआ कि जब मैं एसिड को मिक्स करूंगा एक अल्कली के साथ, उस वक्त मैं उस रिएक्शन को नाम दूंगा. क्या नाम दूंगा? Titration. If this won't be an alkali, at that time I am telling this neutralization. Okay? This was about the titration and the neutralization. So till now I completed 4 methods for the preparation of soluble salts. Till now I have completed only soluble salts. I gave the 4 methods. मैंने 4 methods दिए soluble salts को prepare करने के लिए. First one, method number 1, it was, what was this method? Oh, it was direct combination or synthesis method. Second method was, it was simple displacement. Third method was decomposition. Fourth method was neutralization. Okay, now I will be going to talk about insoluble salts. How insoluble salts are prepared. How insoluble salts are prepared. Method number 1, it is again direct combination. Direct combination synthesis. Direct combination synthesis. In case of soluble salts, I mentioned this method also, where I reacted elements together directly, so that was called direct method synthesis. Here I will react this iron plus sulfide, it will form iron sulfide. Similarly, I will react zinc plus sulfide, it will form zinc sulfide. If you will remind the previous lecture, I have mentioned there in the rule number 5, all carbonate. You go to the previous lecture and remind it again, recap it again. I have mentioned in the 5th rule there that all carbonate salts, all bicarbonate salts, all sulfide salts, all sulfite salts, they are insoluble salts. So similarly, insoluble salt, this is iron sulfide, this is zinc sulfide, they are insoluble. They are insoluble salts. Whenever we will be given these two salts, you can directly tell, you can directly give the answer at that time that these two salts are formed by direct combination synthesis. Okay? Now, if there will be any other insoluble salt, you will give the answer to that question that it will be formed by double decomposition. So you mention second method of preparation of insoluble salt, it is double decomposition or precipitation. मतलब यही हुआ कि अगर आपको ये दो साल्ट दिए होंगे, आपको बताया जाएगा कि ये जो दो साल्ट है ये किस मेथड से प्रिपेयर किए जाएंगे, क्योंकि सल्फाइड्स तो इनसॉल्युबल साल्ट्स हैं. इनसॉल्युबल साल्ट्स के लिए मैंने दो मेथड्स अभी तक बताए. अगर ये दो साल्ट्स वहां पे प्रेजेंट होंगे तो आप डायरेक्टली आंसर देना कि ये डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन सिंथेसिस से होंगे. अगर और कोई साल्ट इन दोनों के अलावा होगा मगर वो इनसॉल्युबल होनी चाहिए, सो एट दैट टाइम व्हाट शुड बी योर आंसर? योर answer should be at that time double decomposition or it is by precipitation method. So what is in this precipitation method? At that time you will give the answer precipitation method. Example, do you know in the previous lecture I have mentioned all chloride salts are soluble. All chloride salts are soluble. मगर मैंने वहां पे एक्सेप्शन दी थी. कौन सी एक्सेप्शन दी थी? PbCl2 और PbCl2 मैंने बताया था वहां पे, और मैंने बोला था all सल्फेट साल्ट्स आर सॉल्युबल, मगर एक्सेप्शन भी वहां पे दी थी. कौन सी एक्सेप्शन? BaSO4, और BaSO4 की एक्सेप्शन मैंने वहां पे दी थी. Okay, this was all about the preparation of insoluble salts. So insoluble salts के लिए भी मैंने दो तरीके बताए. कौन कौन सा तरीका मैंने बताया? फर्स्ट वन, पहला जो तरीका था वो था डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन. डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन में मैंने दो एग्जांपल्स दिए, आयरन सल्फाइड एंड जिंक सल्फाइड. second preparation was double decomposition or precipitation, where I gave the examples of this lead chloride and barium sulfate also. अगर आपको ये सारी चीजें याद तो नहीं रही होंगी, so there is no problem, you can recap them again, you can remind them again. But here I will be going to give you some questions. You can try them, you can have a look on these questions. they may help you to memorize this topic again. So the question is like this. Oh, listen, question number 1. Question number 1 is, on one side I will give you salts NaNO3, second salt is FeCl3, third salt it is PbCl2, fourth salt is ZnSO4, fifth salt is NaHSO4. On this one side I am being given different salts, and on the other side what you will note down, first one it is simple decomposition, simple displacement, simple displacement. Second one it is neutralization. Third one it is decomposition by acid. Decomposition by acid. Fourth one it is given as double decomposition. Fifth one it is direct synthesis. सो आपको यहाँ पे 5 साल्ट्स दिए गए हैं, यहाँ पे उनकी प्रिपरेशन मेथड्स भी दिए गए हैं। आपको बताना है कि कौन साल्ट किस प्रिपरेशन मेथड से बना सकते हैं। लिसन, फर्स्ट वन, आई टॉक्ड अबाउट आयरन क्लोराइड। आयरन क्लोराइड की मैंने बात की थी डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन में, जहां पे मैंने रिएक्ट किया था, आयरन को रिएक्ट किया था क्लोरीन के साथ, यानी 2 एलिमेंट्स को मैंने डायरेक्टली कंबाइन किया था। वहां पे क्या बना था? FeCl3, आयरन क्लोराइड, और दिस वाज फॉर्म्ड। So this first method, it is formed by this direct combination. I will name here. It is A part, it is B, it is C, it is D, it is E. So the answer for this, it will be B. Direct synthesis. After that, if I will see this PbCl2, recap this. All chlorides are soluble in nature, but PbCl2, I mentioned this before 20 seconds. I told this is insoluble. Lead chloride is insoluble. All chloride salts are soluble, मगर वहाँ पे एक exception है, lead chloride. It is an insoluble salt. Insoluble salts के लिए मैंने 2 methods बताए. First one, it was direct synthesis. Direct synthesis में मैंने 2 salts बनाए, iron sulfide FeS and PbS. मगर यहाँ पे lead chloride का दूसरा मेथड मैंने बोला था डबल डिकम्पोजिशन. सो इट्स आंसर विल बी डबल डिकम्पोजिशन. सो द आंसर ऑफ दिस lead chloride, इट विल बी सी. और समझ में आती है बात? दिस इज डायरेक्ट सिंथेसिस. सिमिलरली, अगर आपको पता होगा इसके बारे में, सोडियम बाइसल्फेट, हाउ दिस वाज प्रिपेयर्ड. सी, जब मैंने NaCl को मिक्स किया था सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड के साथ, मिक्स किया था किस मेथड में? ये कौन सा मेथड था? डिकम्पोजिशन मेथड. इट इज द थर्ड मेथड विच आई मेंशन्ड इन केस ऑफ सॉल्युबल साल्ट्स. वहां पे क्या बना था? NaHSO4, what was released also HCl. So it will be decomposition by acid. This salt is formed by the decomposition by this acid. So the E part, answer of this E part will be this. समझ में आती है बात? After this there is this zinc sulfate and this sodium nitrate. Okay, listen. अगर मैं जिंक सल्फेट की बात करूंगा, जिंक को अगर मैं रिएक्ट करूंगा H2SO4 के साथ, जिंक को मैंने रिएक्ट किया था किस मेथड में? सिंपल डिस्प्लेसमेंट में. जिंक को रिएक्ट किया था सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड के साथ. जिंक चूंकि रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज में हायर पोजीशन पे है एज कंपेयर टू हाइड्रोजन, व्हाट वाज द प्रोडक्ट फॉर्म्ड? प्रोडक्ट फॉर्म्ड वाज जिंक ZnSO4. what else was released? Hydrogen gas was released. So this method of preparation was simple displacement. So the answer of this zinc sulfate, it will be simple displacement. So the answer will be D part. So what is left now? It is sodium nitrate. It will be formed now by this neutralization reaction. Oh, this was one example for you. Hope you will understand this and this will help you to memorize this lecture again. Now the question number, now another question I will be going to tell you here. I am writing this question. You see at your positions whether you are able to answer them or not. Question number second, see. I will be going to write question here. It is NH4 2 times SO4. Second one, it is CaCO3. Third one, if it is FeCl3. This is repeating again. Fourth one, it is PbNO3 whole twice. Fifth one, it is zinc sulfate. I will number these. It is A, it is B, it is C, it is D, it is E. Or give the answer of these questions in the comment box. Listen, what are the options on this side? It is when metal and acid is reacted together. Second one, it is carbonate plus acid. What is third one? Third one is precipitation. Precipitation, or it is also called double decomposition. It is double decomposition. Another one, it is direct combination. And the last one, it is titration. आपको यहाँ पे डिफरेंट साल्ट्स दिए गए हैं और उनके मेथड प्रिपरेशन दूसरे साइड से दिए गए हैं. आपको आंसर बताना है कि कौन साल्ट किस मेथड ऑफ प्रिपरेशन से बनाए जाते हैं. In the previous example, I mentioned this iron chloride. It is formed by direct combination synthesis. Since it is soluble salt, it is chloride salt, and it is soluble. It is formed by direct combination. So the answer of this, it is direct combination. So C part will be answer for this. So this is done now. After that, it is zinc sulfate. This I mentioned also in the previous lecture. When zinc was reacted with sulfuric acid, it was displacing. Is there displacement? When zinc was reacted with sulfuric acid, it was forming zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas was released. So it was displacement. It was simple displacement. See, is there any option simple displacement? There is no simple displacement. Listen, there is metal plus acid. Metal plus acid. Metal plus acid. It is simple displacement. So the answer for the zinc sulfate, it will be here. मतलब ये वाला भी खत्म हो गया. अब कौन सा बच गया हमारे पास? Listen, अगर हम ये वाला देखेंगे अब. First one, carbonate. Listen, if you will recap the previous lecture of the solubility of salts, there I mentioned all carbonate salts. All carbonate salts. First I will tell you the answer of this question. Ammonium salts. All ammonium salts, all sodium. First rule of the solubility of salts. All salts of sodium, potassium and ammonium. This is ammonium. All salts of ammonium are soluble. They are soluble salts. Listen, it is ammonium. If I will react ammonium hydroxide, if I will react it with H2SO4, what will be the product formed? Product formed will be NH4 whole twice SO4 Oh, this will be the product formed, and what else will be released? There will be release of this water molecule. मतलब ये हुआ कि अमोनियम सल्फेट बनता है जब मैं अमोनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड को मिक्स करता हूं सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड के साथ। तो ये रिएक्शन कौन सी है? चूंकि ये जो अमोनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड है ये अल्कली है। मैंने बोला एक न्यूट्रलाइजेशन रिएक्शन क्या होती है? न्यूट्रलाइजेशन रिएक्शन होती है जब मैं एसिड को बेस के साथ मिलाऊं, वहां पे क्या बनता है? वहां पे बनेगा एक साल्ट। मगर अगर ये बेस अल्कली होगी उस वक्त इसको बोलेंगे कि ये टाइट्रेशन रिएक्शन है। कौन सी रिएक्शन है? ये टाइट्रेशन रिएक्शन है। सो द आंसर फॉर दिस अमोनियम सल्फेट इट विल बी ए पार्ट। Okay, how are you able to understand? Listen again. Now the calcium carbonate. There is remaining now this calcium carbonate. In case of in the solubility of salts, I mentioned there I mentioned in the fifth rule, all carbonate salts, all bicarbonate salts, all sulfide salts, they are insoluble. I mentioned their carbonates, so this is carbonate salt. Carbonates are salt insoluble, that means it is insoluble salt. In case of insoluble salts, I mentioned two preparations only. The first preparation was, कौन सी प्रिपरेशन पहली थी? इट वॉज डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन। डायरेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन में मैंने दो ही साल्ट्स बताए, आयरन सल्फाइड और कौन सा बताया था? जिंक सल्फाइड। मगर ये कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट है। इसके बगैर मैंने बोला था दूसरा मेथड डबल डिकम्पोजिशन और प्रेसिपिटेशन मेथड। जो भी इनसॉल्युबल साल्ट होगा वो उसी मेथड से बनता है। मतलब जो ये कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट एक इनसॉल्युबल साल्ट कहलाता है, वो किस मेथड से बनेगा? वो किस मेथड से हम बना सकते हैं? वो हम बना सकते हैं इस वाले मेथड से। समझ जीवन? Now what is remaining? There is remaining of this lead nitrate. So what is remaining on this side? On this side it is carbonate plus acid. So the answer will be D part of this question. So this marks the end of this question again. If you are not able to understand properly this, you can go back into the lecture and see what are the examples and how we are able to prepare these all salts. So when you will fully understand the lecture, after completion of the lecture, you should try to solve these questions again. So this was all about this salt topic. I have completed the salt topic, its preparation. It is preparation I completed, basis definition I also completed. So this was all for today's topic. Thank you. Have a nice day. I will be coming with another new concept in the next topic. Till then, bye. Thank you.